Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor, which is due unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakadash. Alright, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great Muslim of rule well and taught me this truth. And shalom to the elect of Yahweh Shai, aka the elect of Israel. Alright, starting with 144,000. Yeah, man, I want to go into this quick lesson. Okay, and pretty much, this article is an application that's recently been made in the UK, in like a town in the UK, to restrict street preaching, okay, to ban it. And my understanding of what's going on with it is that, they've put the legislation application on pause while they speak to local faith leaders, right? But, it's a sign ultimately of what's to come, which is that we're not going to be, on the streets teaching, like we're doing, okay, forever, man. Okay, there's gonna come a time when this devil is gonna cut that off, okay, where, it's not gonna be possible to be out on the streets teaching, okay? You ain't gonna be able to just get this word. They're already clipping channels and videos and things of that nature. They're just, just straight banning. You wake up one day and your channel might have thousands of videos that you've done on it. It's gone, okay? I had my original channel, that's gone, okay? And obviously, like, you look at the apostles on down, many channels over the years. Okay, there's different channels that brothers make and elders and all that. And then why do you think there's so many channels with so many different numbers on it, man? So and so, like this channel's called Napash Bar. Bar is the second character of the Hebrew alphabet. Okay, Ba. So pretty much, so where's the first one, man? I got another channel as a backup, which is Ga, just in case something happens with this one. So why do we have to do that? Because Esau is coming down on the truth. Okay, he calls it hate speech. He calls it, this or that. But ultimately, what it is that we're just teaching what's in the Bible. We're just telling you the truth. That's all we're doing. Okay. Now, it says in an article on BBC News, Christians shock at planned street preacher restrictions. It says some preachers were accused of saying members of the public have evil spirit within them, which is interesting because, look, these Christians, they're going and worshiping JC, okay? They're not giving worship to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, which is the true names of the Heavenly Father and His Son, Heavenly Father's name being Yahweh, and the true name of the Messiah, the only begotten Son of Yahweh, is Yahweh Shai. There's no salvation in any other name under heaven, man, given among men. That is the name. That's how you gain access onto salvation. All right. Now, they're talking about evil spirits. I just wanted to add this, that look, you got to be able to discern the spirits to see what they're about. If they're coming in some other name, okay, there's an issue there, man. They ain't teaching you the truth. Now, having said that, the point is that these people are still doing street preaching. Now, they're shocked at this. And it's funny that the Christians express shock at it. See, because we're in Britain, so-called religious expression and freedom of speech or whatever, these Christians are shocked at it. We ain't shocked at this. Okay? Those of us in this truth, we're not shocked at this. Why? I'm going to read it. Because we understand the scriptures. Here's the precept and the prophecy on it. Amos chapter 8 verse 11. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, that I will send a famine in the land. Not a famine of bread," which is what normally a famine is like, you can't eat. Okay? It's not a famine of bread that it's talking about here. All right, of food. Nor a thirst for water. So ain't talking about food or water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So the Lord's going to have it. This is prophecy. The Lord's actually going to have it where, you ain't going to be able to get this word anymore. Okay? There's a time. It says, "And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it." So you got to get it while you can. That's why in Isaiah, what's that now? I believe that's Isaiah 55:6. It says, "Seek ye the Lord while he may be found." How is the Lord found? Through his prophets. Call ye upon him while he is near. It's the prophets that are out there being the voices of the Lord, man. Okay, that's how the Lord's words are being heard. Now, you had a time in Egypt where Israel wanted to speak directly to the Lord. They didn't want to deal with it through Moses. And then they got afraid. They said, the Lord, just hearing the Lord, it scared them, Just a bit, the thunder, the lightning. They said, you know what? Nah, you deal with it, Moses. Okay? So the Lord deals through his prophets. Okay? What's that? Daniel's 9:10. It says, "Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our power." So what's the voice of the Lord? "To walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets." Okay? So it's set by what? The prophets. The prophets are the mouthpieces. Okay? That's how this word is preached. That's how it gets out there. All right? That's why we've got these channels. We've got these lessons that we use on YouTube. There's other channels, Odyssey, other platforms, Odyssey, Daily Motion, so on and so forth. Okay? And also the street ministry. All right? Before you had the internet and all of that, there was a street ministry. Our apostles always go into it. The old school and going out on the highways and byways. That's the street ministry. Okay, that's what the men were doing in the ancient days. Okay, you had no YouTube back then. Okay, really, the internet and all the social media and YouTube platforms and things like that. That's all part of prophecy too. In Matthew the 24th chapter, that's a new thing. So I'm going to read that. That's a new thing that's happening, and that's part of prophecy too. And I'm going to read that in a second. I'll come back to that, but first let me read this precept. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8, it says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed," which is Esau, the devil, who's ruling the world right now, the so-called white man, "whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth." Who is that? That's the prophets. "And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming," which is when Yahushua returns with the angels. Okay, to take this place down physically. Right now, we're taking this place down spiritually. We're breaking down the strongholds, the lies that this man has set up in society. We're breaking it down. We're revealing him for who he really is. Okay. Now the internet, which does the heavy lifting of this work, okay, fulfills many scriptures. Now this is one of the main scriptures it fulfills. Let's read it. Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world." How's that done? Through the internet. "For a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." And that's one way that the fact that this word is being preached on the internet and is accessible in this way, that's one way that we're at the end. We're at the end of the end. Okay? It's a sign. And when that word is no longer being able to be preached in that way and it's getting shut down and there's persecution, that's how now we're at the door. We're at the Jacob's trouble. We're at the final part of this before the Lord returns, man. Okay? So that's the time that we're in. That's the time that we're approaching. Things like this happening. The fact that they're even doing this kind of applications, it shows the kind of mindset of these people. All right? It shows what time we're in spiritually. So, hey, man, I just wanted to quickly touch upon that. Just a quick one. And Lord willing, it's an edifying lesson. A prophecy's in effect, man. And we're almost out of here. These are the signs that we're watching for. So we just got to keep the faith and keep enduring and keep going. So with that, man, I'm going to say, shalom. Shalom to the elect.